Tonight's wrap-up edition of the Laserforce Internationals podcast is brought to you by our all-time leading sponsor, Fireball. It has claimed another victim, Fireball Nim.
Is he going to be like right next to you on the floor this evening? Or?
No.
Give him 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No, well, at least I won't be sitting in the corner crying, saying, "Fan, give me life!" Thanatos.
Well, that's probably the squishiest I've ever seen your face. That's the first sign of fireball poisoning.
Let's just say Green Lantern's going to be interesting tomorrow.
All right. Welcome back to the Resupplier with me, Guy Next Door.
And me, Than.
Giving you your daily Nationals double tap of all things Laserforce and Space Marines. Than, welcome back, buddy. We've missed you.
You know you haven't. You lie.
Once this week?
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Doing family shit. How dare you, sir?
I know. How dare I actually spend time with, actual relation family instead of my Laserforce family? I know. It's a terrible thing. I shouldn't do it. I am a terrible person. And you've known this for years.
That's why my partner calls laser tag my first wife.
I mean, she's not wrong.
It's true.
So, this evening, we again joined by the roundtable. But the roundtable this evening is a group of inverted commas special players. To my left.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, guys. Hi. Just trying to wake up the voice here. It's tragedy.
And Than.
And Fireball DK. I'm sorry, I'll talk quieter, Amy.
And Night Owl.
And of course me. We're also joined by a massive peanut gallery this evening. Give us a cheer, y'all. Yay! Not that loud, noise control will come over. So,
It wasn't that funny, Nim.
I'm on it!
It doesn't matter. He's gone. He is just gone.
First order of business when I get back to Sacramento is changing his name in the Laserforce computer.
So I feel like a little bit out of place because everyone around me has got some sort of cold beverage with ice in it. I, however, am old man Steve with a fucking cup of peppermint tea this evening. So hopefully.
Oh, Jesus.
Alright, I give. So we had our final day today.
We did.
What a day finals was.
It certainly had some interesting moments.
Yeah.
That is an accurate statement. Some good, some bad, some what the fuck is happening right now, and oh my god, this is fucking stupid moments. But that's pretty. Actually, no, that last part is not actually all that typical for Nationals in general. Fuck you, Taipan.
There are definitely some good stories from today, though. You two, go outside.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Ejected.
First ejection of the night.
That wasn't that long, actually. That didn't take long. Actually,
That's our
taking
4
a
minutes,
break.
34 seconds.
Quickest elim. Quickest elim. Quickest elim.
Hey, goodbye.
Alright, so what were you saying?
There are definitely some good stories from today. Number one, in the 3 versus 6 match, USA fairly handily dealt with the Brisbane Super Troopers / Eat a D team / Get a D team / Penalty Cats, whatever you want to call them. The team that beat the shit out of us in the tournament, in the mini tournament last night. USA handled them fairly effectively, but could not get the elim because Meow, who is currently sitting in the room, happened to find one of the coolest hiding places in the Brisbane maze behind a missile in the maze that nobody thought to look behind because I think she is an actual cat and could just squeeze between 2 cracks in the maze. So that on its own was fairly amusing. That, however, was not the end of the amusement because the next game in which Auckland was then playing USA. Oh no, I guess that was 2 matches later because that was the third versus fourth match to determine who would be third place. Monkey Crap also tried to hide behind the missile. Didn't find it quite as easy, and someone eventually found him. But that wasn't the end of it, because then when USA was playing the Brisbane Heretics, and I had the good fortune to merc for them when when Baden had some trouble with his knee, we were facing elimination, and I decided I would try my luck at hiding behind the missile, only to find that Odin's fist was already there. So I had to fuck off and die somewhere else.
Didn't Odin survive?
No, but they didn't find him for a little while.
No, I survived.
We did not find him.
Wow. I think the reason that monkey didn't get in there is because there's no handicap parking.
Very
Poor
possible.
kid, he is so broken.
Oh, day 2, and he needs a hip replacement. He is messed up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what happens, kids, when you don't do any like physical activity for 4 years.
And then try to play Laserforce at a tournament.
To be fair, yeah, I thought he did really well. Proud of you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he did really well up until the point that he was broken. And then he still did okay, but it's like, dude.
Oh, look, he found a spot where he could be the little mosquito, hang around the back and just annoy the crap out of us, especially Rusty. From the blue ramp, up and down that road, he bothered Rusty so much.
Games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get in behind him, and it's like, Rusty's going, where am I getting shot from? And he eventually found out, yeah, monkey on the blue ramp.
Yeah, he's good like that. He's been annoying my whole life. No. So, we've just got back from having the awards dinner. Actually, no, we'll get to awards soon. What's some other stuff that happened today that was noteworthy?
Well, I would say the very last game of the grand final match of the tournament had its share of amusement,
Disappointment. Irritation.
saltiness, mostly from the refs, quite honestly. Fan and Maniac were a bit salty that they had to referee that kind of shit show. Tragedy had the right idea, though, so he can give us a rundown of the game since he was actually playing in it.
Oh, the grand final.
Yeah.
Nice game.
So, well, since the pretenders were eliminated in the first 2 games of 4, they decided that instead of trying to fight us, that they would just have themselves a little bit of fun and set up the Great Wall of Taipan in the bilge. So we picked up on this pretty quickly, so we all ran upstairs and there was no one there but us chickens. And then Rusty goes downstairs and we're all saying, no, don't do it, don't get them. Let's just get our targets, let's protect the targets, make sure they can't get them, and we don't do anything. Rusty's like, nah, screw this. Fuck this shit. I don't like it. He's never liked a wall. So sticks his head into the bilge and gets himself shot. Steps out. Chris is like, what are you doing? Just stay out. Rusty goes, I got like 2 medikits already. He found a little sliver of a gap in the bilge and he could shoot the medic's gun through it. So he's stepping in and getting the medic down, then trying to get an extra hit.
Sneaky fuck.
Bloody hell.
He eventually worked up a nuke through this little tactic, came upstairs, nuked, and the heretics ran from the bilge to under Rob's deck, also known as the galley, and they set up their wall again. It was downright the most boring game I have ever played. My God. I honestly thought I was going to finish that game and get the achievement for never being shot in an SM5 game. It doesn't exist, but it should.
It's interesting somebody tried to do somewhat of a totem pole against the Brisbane team, and they didn't like it. That's interesting.
It is rather strange,
Yeah,
I admit.
I think I heard on some podcast somewhere that apparently fuck the totem pole.
Maybe once or twice.
Maybe
yeah.
once or twice.
Maybe
Now,
once
the
or
man
twice.
the man who had a hand in the very first totem pole hates it.
Oh, goddamn totem pole.
But since the match itself was not very entertaining, we had to provide our own entertainment in the match. And once they went to the galley, I remembered that there's a camera relatively close to there. So I at least tried to provide some entertainment for the audience just outside the chapel by doing various kinds of chicken dances, just staring at the camera, moving around in circles, constantly doing laps around the gen. Eventually, Mark King decided he wanted to join in. He said, DK, I'm feeling a bit tired. Can you just like kind of kneel down so I can sit on your back for a bit? And I said, yeah, no problem, bro. So just stuck my gun on the ground, took a knee, and just let Beast sit on me.
That was a thing. It happened. Baden and I were watching it from the helm, looking down like, so it's that type of... Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was just one of those games where... You're kind of like, really? Did we have to throw up the white flag with this? Could we have not just, like, tried to play out? On the other hand, it was really fucking easy to ref.
Yeah.
It was a boring 15 minutes, but it was really fucking easy to ref.
I mean, I would have much preferred if y'all had, like, got a shorter elim so we could have left even sooner. That would have been kind of nice.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Well, if Rusty hadn't insisted on diving into builds to try to get a couple more medic hits, my plan was to rush in as a ref and just penalize the shit out of heretics.
How's your wall looking now, bitches? Yeah, so lucky for me, I wasn't in there reffing that game. Yay.
Yay.
It was just as boring for everyone out in the lobby.
Why
Is anyone
good? What's going on?
Yeah, why is all of the Brisbane team on 2002 points and all of the pretenders on 0?
So,
Like the first 5 minutes.
was there anything else today during the play day that was actually...
Noteworthy?
Yeah.
Yes. In the first game that the Brisbane Bees played this morning, Elle, their medic, was either the victim of domestic violence or accidentally hit herself. I had not arrived, but the story that was told to me was that she was shooting the neutral gen and Striker was somewhere near around her. She shot the gen and went to run away just as he turned around and either she ran into his gun and it hit her on the side of the head or he pistol whipped her. And it knocked her down and we're not sure whether she lost consciousness or not. Elle would be able to tell us. But she continued the game, played the second game in the match, and then when they came out, had to run and be violently ill and was having trouble standing up. So Striker kindly took her to hospital where they kept her for 5 or 6 hours. And then released her this evening in enough time to come to the awards barbecue.
Which is... yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, Striker.
Yeah,
Be careful, man.
It's the kind of thing that you tell the police when they ask, oh yeah, I fell down the back ramp.
I walked into a door, kids.
Yeah.
I must stress, she has told us that she's absolutely fine. Striker was around when she said that, but she says she's absolutely not kidding. She's fine. She's been given a clear bill of health by the doctor.
She is blind, and I have not detected any change in behaviour. So
She's still as bubbly as ever.
She's still as bubbly as ever. That's right.
And still hates type engine. No.
and she still sounds like Kristen. She very much sounds like Kristen.
Boy, there's a lot of consternation on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But-
I hate to bust out the edit hammer, but it might come down to that.
But speaking of people who actually did walk into doors, it's not just a story.
I didn't-
Fan, you want to give us your version of the day?
I didn't mean that like a bad thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
I'm too lazy to edit it.
going down the back ramp to try to get a reset on Beans, and at the blue base there's some very ill-placed posts. They're really stupid.
In your opinion.
But
And-
they've
oh, yeah.
been there for years.
I know they've been there for years. They've been there since the first time I went to Brisbane in like 2000. So I know they're there, but you know, one of them decided to jump out at me and smack me in the head when I was trying to get a reset. It was really odd.
Why is there a door brew?
Maybe that's really what happened to Elle. She was struck by these moving walls. Maybe we've been throwing shade at Striker for no reason.
Oh no, there's a reason.
Oh no.
Pretty sure there's always a reason.
There's always a reason.
No, I saw that.
Don't lay onto his porn stash like that.
Jeez, have a sense of humor, you dicks.
Some groans come from the peanut gallery.
You can't hit
You
me
guys were
every
all
joke,
fine. We were
okay?
roasting Taipan, but all of a sudden it's not okay.
Okay, so was there anything else that happened?
I'm sure there was, but I mean, when you get to the day 5 of the tournament and everything just starts kind of blending together.
It becomes a bit of a blur.
Everything's a blur, and
Stairs are hard.
ramps are hard. Missiles are hard.
Putting my shoes on is hard.
Bending over is hard.
Yeah.
I was leaving,
Squatting is hard.
I was leaving Laserforce this afternoon, and I finally get to the bottom of the stairs. And I walked out, and everyone's like, "Hurry up, Peter, we're going to go." I said, "Yeah, let's get the hell out of here before I have to do any more stairs," just as I get to a step. Oh, shit.
Things at it, I would have.
And then someone thankfully directed me to go down one step and around to the right instead of going left where there would have been another step.
His son is raising his hand right now.
Stairs are hard right now.
Alright, well, so the final standings for the tournament, in case people didn't know, Al, do you want to go run through from 9th to 1st?
Sure thing. In 9th place is New Zealand against all wins. Woo! Who did manage actually to get not just a win but a match win.
Yeah, boys.
We talked about, of course, last night. The Sacramento Star Guardians are in 8th.
Well done.
Oakley Raiders came in at 7th, which unfortunately I've got to shout out to Crypan for picking that correctly.
Because you were pretty pissed.
I was a little bit salty about that, and he picked that correctly. So you can have that one, Crypan. In 5th place...
I think there's another
Actually,
number in there
turns
someplace, Al.
Yeah.
There's a number between 5 and
Yeah,
7.
well, no, see, I'm going to explain. In 5th place came the Brisbane Bees. However, in match play and with having to forfeit because of L's unfortunate injury, they came 6th. And the Brisbane Penalty Cats, give everybody a D, moved up into 5th place.
Woo!
Because of that forfeit. Which meant that they moved up moved up a place. So good on them.
Well done. Well done.
In 4th place.
Hey, wait! Before you go on further, so at the start of the tournament, it pissed me off that there was 4 teams that played from Brisbane, and I was of the mindset, no, fuck them. They shouldn't be here. I don't want them to play. We don't need that many teams. And you guys just made a believer out of me. Like, I'm so glad that you were here. You guys earned your spot all week. You guys did really well.
Well, no, hang on. Let's. They earned their spot after the first 2 days. The first 2 days they were fucking terrible.
Okay, on average, over the week.
But there were a number of the committee who, especially the international part of the committee, who were very
upset
that there were 4 teams from Brisbane when an 8-team rotation is a lot easier to run.
I didn't want to be on that team.
I was also part of that group, and you guys played a great tournament.
So good.
And I was calling you horrible names all week, but I did change it, of course, to the from rather the E to D's, which you were the first 2 days, to give everybody the D after you beat the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
In an amazing.
That's why we got a medal. We had to buy it.
Yeah, you deserve a medal for that. Okay, so going back to it, team 4th was Team Mana from Auckland/Dallas.
That works.
And then in 3rd were the US Golden Freeballs. And in 2nd, as we already discussed, Crypan and the Pretenders, after pulling the boring wall of Taipan in the and in 1st place were the Golden Girls, who showed all of their... I mean, let's be honest, they bitched and moaned about that 3rd game, but 2/3 of them were secretly ecstatic that they hardly had to move. Either upstairs or on the red floor, not having to do a damn thing in that game because they were just as spent as everybody else.
I feel like it's just Rusty. Rusty was the only one excited to run more.
Pretty much. And you know, to a lesser degree, Jared. But
No,
the
and
others,
an actual quote from Jared during that game was, "I feel like a hyena who's not being allowed to have his food."
Sorry, so yeah, Jared was a bit upset. The others really, you know, when you've got two guys pushing 90 on the team, combined age,
Sure, Al, sure.
over 90 combined age, as math was pointed out to me early.
Math is hard.
Math is hard.
So it was like, I mean, the standings were more or less what people were kind of expecting, right? Like, I think we did a little better than people thought, or at least that Taipan thought. I think the Americans did a little better than people thought. Does anyone remember where they were?
I think so. I think they were tipped for third, fourth.
I had them locked into third basically from the get-go, just thinking about the relative strength of the teams. Maybe not locked in, but I would have considered them to be solidly kind of in that second tier of teams with Crypan and the Pretenders.
When I heard the Kings were playing, I had you guys locked into third.
Yeah.
In my head, yep.
I mean, the boys did such a good job, both King brothers. We'll get into
especially
their
taking over
accolades.
from Monkey.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Leach was thrust into the commander role. And we hadn't actually played together as a team until the Sunday night, and then we got one game as a team, and Monkey had to go. Monkey had to go. So, yeah, and then, you know, our first couple of games was against the two hardest teams in the tournament. So it was rough, but the boys stepped up really well. So
A bit of trial by fire.
yeah,
A lot of trial by fire.
but they thrive under pressure. So
Yeah,
both
good thing.
pretty highly competitive dudes. So.
And and of note, so we had 2K get Rookie of the Year in 2008,
Yeah.
and we have Leach now.
Well, we'll get into that.
You
shortly.
sure?
We'll get into
We get that?
right
Alright.
soon. Actually, let's do it now. So those were the standings.
Yep.
Rookie of the Year. We'll start with that. Then spoiled it, but whatever. No.
I'm a
Went-
terrible broadcaster, bro.
It's all about the build-up. Yeah, Leach managed to take Rookie, following in his brother's footsteps.
Woo!
Nice.
The peanut gallery.
Well done. So good. So proud of you.
Well deserved. I would say there were three fairly deserving candidates. There were three likely candidates for Rookie of the Year. One being the eventual winner, Leach, definitely a deserving candidate. But also shout outs to the second and third place winners there. Sharpshooter from Crypan and the Pretenders played great all week. Just destroyed me in a couple of our games. Canceled two of my nukes. And Screever from the Brisbane Give-A-D's. Excuse me.
Yeah, gotta change their name.
Yeah, two definitely very worthy contenders as well. But congratulations to everybody, but especially you, Leach.
Yeah,
You killed it.
So
to doubt if he hadn't won.
You're out of the family.
I only by one vote.
well, so
Yeah, and that's,
Well,
that's
so
the other
fo-
thing to,
yeah,
to
so fun-
mention.
so fun fact there. People didn't know Leach was a rookie until partway through the voting. So there were actually people going like, "What? Hang on, time out. He's a rookie?
I wouldn't
Fuck!
have known, bro.
I have to go change my vote." So there were people like going back to their ballots to make changes because they did not know that he had actually never played a nationals before.
So normally, in the past, there's been a list that gets released when you go into the voting, right? So that would have been cool. Maybe we'll remember that for next year. We'll remember to put a list. out.
There was technically a
There was
list.
It was handwritten and it was sort of somewhere near the
Was
ballot
that the
box.
garbage that was like crumpled up on the
It was.
counter?
Even still, that was done after it was pointed out, and there was at least a dozen votes
It
already
was
in
about
box.
an hour after the box
Yeah.
opened.
It's a shame because that's how guys get screwed out of,
Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what happened when I first played, but yeah.
Shout out to Hoodlum for that kind of thing.
But he's just sitting over there. He's like me last night. He's watching his footy. He doesn't care.
He's like, what's the shot for, bro? What's your shot for?
He got screwed out of Rookie of the Year.
Did he?
Yeah.
What year was that?
It was the year mental one.
Yeah.
There you go.
The year was 1874.
I can tell you what year it was. It was the first year he played at Nats.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
2000.
So what were the other awards?
Other awards that were given this evening, we gave out the popular vote All Stars, and then we gave MVP for each position, and then overall MVP.
Do you want to do MVP first?
We can do MVP first.
Yeah.
Yep. So the MVP winners, the Commander MVP was Rusty, because he's Rusty and he does all the things as a commander.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
He averaged 23.8 MVP points per game and did everything that he always does, which is why he is the best. In heavy weapons, no, that's not right. There's a curated heavy weapons. The heavy weapon winner was
Crypan, for the love of God, Al, come on.
I'm sorry, the list that he's got here is not curated out.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is a highly professional production here, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you don't like it, again, fuck you. You're not paying for it. So.
Yeah, because this has just got all this.
Crypan was the MVP heavy.
Yeah.
He also managed to achieve the highest overall average MVP for the tournament. There have already been some memes made of that, about Rusty trying to figure out exactly how it was that Taipan beat him for overall MVP. So have a look at the Space Marines memes for Lives Critical Teens Facebook page when you get a chance. There's been some real gems that have been produced. The MVP scouts. Can we get on the list now?
No, it's not listing probably, but we know who they were. They were Jared Boom Train from the Golden Girls, and the other scout was Tragedy from also the Golden Girls.
Yep.
Nice.
He only beat me because he got a lot more medic hits, where I was farming all the points off the 3 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, man.
He got to go forward, I got to stay back.
Once again, Traj coming in from behind.
Who would have it any other way?
The ammo was Glader from Crypan and the Pretenders, only because my favourite and the people's favourite, DK, didn't play enough games by 1 to beat him, but it was still the win. Good stuff, Glader.
Yay!
And the medic by a country mile and more MVP points than Traj was Fredo.
Shot Fredo.
Go on, Fredo.
Giant ginger bastard.
Well, look, when you've got 3 hits like Mark and Rusty up forward for you, you can afford to stand up and shoot some stragglers.
Pretty much.
Get the scores, pull your boosts, and get the MVP points, which is what Medic's built on.
Yeah. And the fact that you guys would kick everybody downstairs and he could roam the bridge, roam the helm, and just pick off these poor people.
I talk about Screaver farming points. Fredo was doing that as much as he possibly could. And he also came out with another stat, medic on medic hits.
I saw that one earlier, yes. He killed he had the most medic hits from a medic with 7, I think.
I think it was 8.
17.
17.
Oh my God.
When I looked at it, it was 8.
That's ridiculous. Fredo was quite the attacking medic.
That was more medic hits than some attacking players.
Yes.
Piece of shit.
Terrifying. The other popular ones from the stat site were the missile soak, being my good friend Hoodlum, who took 96 missiles. Thank you, Peanut Gallo.
Which was more than second and third combined.
Which was more than second and third combined, but it did allow him to continue with his amazing tactic, which who would have thought was kill the medic.
It's a good strategy.
It's a great strategy. Going into the day, he was between 25 and 30 medic hits behind Taipan, and had. This is going into yesterday, of course. and had 14 medic hits in one game and 11 medic hits in another game.
Eat a dick, Hoodie.
Some of those on our own fan.
Most of them
And
on me.
It also helps. It also helps very much when your commander helpfully doesn't pull any nukes and allows you to farm all of those medic hits.
Well, considering
was
Hoodie
the
was the
commander.
I
commander.
know.
He was. You guys should really consider hiring a heavy to maybe protect your resup.
I know.
But the thing
some
that
piece of shit wasn't doing his job properly.
Totally. Not
the
at
thing
all.
that people
How
forget
many
about
thousands of
Ricky-
dollars are you extra now for the trip?
Oh, who knows at this point?
How much did Hoodie pay you to get in?
Oh dear. Hoodie has always had a very keen eye for the medics. When he used to team up, well, pretty much. Used to team up with Mental, and Mental would just attack the front and kick the medic, and then Hoodie would just find them. And
Even as a scout.
when he was a scout, he would find them and be the medic killer, because Mental would just take out the heavy, and Hoodie would go in, take out the medic. And this week, he didn't have that kind of help. He was the commander himself, so he would go in, put down the 3-hit, put down the ammo, put down the medic, reset off the 3-hit, put down the medic, and of course all the 3 hits go, I can get a missile here. So they do. And he would get missile. But every time, he would take 2 lives off the medic, 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 nuke, no medic. And he did that quite a bit across the week. And the thing that, as I said at the awards barbecue, Hoodie played Tuesday. Before midday, his blood alcohol level would have been over 0.15. He was struggling to stand.
He was hilarious, though.
He was hilarious, though, but he was struggling to stand and still got medic hits.
What a jerk.
against and not just against crap teams, because there weren't any crap teams by the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Everybody had. We didn't play you that day. Moran was just telling me that his team was pretty shit, but we didn't play them on that day. So, but on Tuesday we had quite a difficult run. We played the Brisbane Bees. We played Sacramento. Were finding their feet and coming together, and we also played you guys in the afternoon. He was almost sober then. But certainly we played too hard a team, sort of a middling team and a difficult team to start off. And he still got quite a few hits off L, who he seemed to be able to find in the maze all the time. Every time we played them, he just knew exactly where she was and would go and shoot her.
So obviously he won the Medic Killer Award as well as Missile Sponge.
He certainly did.
What were the other awards that got divvied out?
The popular vote. The popular vote. Rusty, being the popular fella that he is, he got commander. Our own resupplies G&D got the heavy, all-star heavy, and there was much rejoicing because he's been bitching and moaning about never having one for years.
Although he made such a big deal cradling his trophy like it was his firstborn, saying, DK, you don't know how long I've waited for this. I've been dreaming out of this moment. 10 minutes later, he comes up to me, DK, I can't find my trophy. I lost it.
Oh dear.
Which big fuck is my trophy?
The two scouts were Jared Boomtrain from the Golden
Hang on.
Girls.
Are you sure this is your trophy?
One of those ones on the table is mine.
It says All-Star Team. How do you know it's the Heavies trophy?
My one's broken already.
Oh dear. The other scout was Team Mana's 2K King,
Shocking.
who was a pain in the butt to a lot of people in that helm and in the vortex all week. And the popular vote voted in DK as the ammo and the resupply zone Thanatos as all-star medic.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, buddy.
As a team together. The other thing that was unveiled tonight was the inaugural gifting of the Night Owl Tragedy Perpetual Memorial Trophy.
Memorial? I ain't dead yet.
No, not our memorial. It was donated by Jade's family. AKA Angel, in memoriam of her brother Vader. I don't know his real name. David, who passed a number of years ago, and he was a big part of why she plays Laserforce and why her family are involved in Laserforce. And they decided that they wanted to put a perpetual trophy and donate that to the Laserforce scene. And because Traj and I are the longest serving Nationals players still playing, it was decided to call it the Night Owl Tragedy Trophy. Tragedy Night Owl didn't sound right, so that's why I got to go first. And that's the only reason. So that trophy will now stay for this year at Brisbane, and will have to be sent at Rusty's expense because he's the team captain, Rusty, to Detroit. He can either take it himself or he can post it to Detroit next year, where the Nationals will be held. And
he's probably going to pack it in my suitcase.
Yeah, probably. And
check that weight limit.
It will be gifted to the winner of next year's tournament, and it'll stay at their site. And then in 2020, if it goes to Auckland for that, then it'll go to Auckland, and we'll keep going. It's got 10 years worth on it, but we will continue the trophy into the future as long as we can.
That's such a rad thing for someone to do.
I thought it was a really nice gesture.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was really cool. Thanks Jay for sorting that out, because I think we don't really have a unifying, we never had a unifying trophy, really.
Yeah, there's never been a perpetual trophy.
No,
not yet.
Mean, it makes
they
sense
started to get one together many years ago. It had an old Gen 5 gun on it, and it was at Brisbane.
It was the Breaky Cuts trophy.
No, that was our Super League trophy.
Did you lose it under the mountain of other
No,
trophies
the
you had?
Cuts Breaky trophy was a Super League trophy.
No, there was another trophy. I'm certain we had
there's
one.
been a perpetual Nationals or Intercentre trophy.
I'm getting a nod from the Duck Man in the peanut gallery telling me that there was one. Pretty sure we had one.
I don't remember. I mean, you're talking to an old man here. Just because I don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
And the only reason I know is because Ducky remembered and pointed it out to me via hand signals from the peanut gallery. I didn't remember either.
Thanks Jay for sorting that out. That's really special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Alright, so that's all the awards, right?
Yes.
Let's move on to something, I don't really know how to frame this. Let's talk about the actual awards barbecue, if you will.
You mean the awards barbecue?
So,
yes.
And, to be fair, thanks Taipan for kind of organising it. What? So we ended up having the awards ceremony in a park along the Brisbane River. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, on the Brisbane River, not that little creek that they have in Melbourne. It was a river.
And
he would have gotten the idea from the awards
Last
presentation that we did last year, which was in a park in Sacramento.
now the problem is when you organise one of these things, you've got to also organise all the food that comes there, and generally you want the food to be kind of cooked before it gets there, because that way you're relying on this like tiny shit barbecue that's in the middle of a park when you have 5 trays of sausages and then you end up cooking most of them in the dark.
Because in the middle of winter, the sun sets early.
At 5:15.
The sunset was very lovely, but also very brief.
Yeah, there is a definite difference to doing a barbecue in the northern hemisphere in July and doing a barbecue in the southern hemisphere in late July, early August. Funnily enough, there's quite a temperature differential, and there's quite a sunset time differential.
So take that, flat earthers.
So yeah, I mean, it was really cool to have everyone in the one spot away from Laserforce. In hindsight, going somewhere with lighting and heating and food and drink and other nice amenities would have been really cool. But this was also really nice. So
That fire was on point, Brew. I don't know what you're talking about.
oh yeah, that's right. I did manage to conjure a fire from YouTube, and we all huddled around it like a bunch of assholes.
It might be a little late now, but look, if I had known, look, I would have put my place up. I've got a nice big backyard. I've got floodlights. I've got a house.
Tomorrow, we're going to trade you. If you're in town, we're all going to trade you tomorrow.
We even could have made a fire, a real one, in the backyard.
What?
Yeah,
and not
but-
burned anything down.
But Steve's afraid of the foliage,
Yeah.
so...
I don't have any foliage either.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you do that, Brew?
I didn't know.
But yeah, it was nice to be around everyone. I think everyone had mostly a good time. And when we get together, we all just kind of talk shit about
Everything.
everything. So we'd love to do that.
Yeah, and to be fair, also it is always nice to see everyone outside of the center, because during the week, especially this year with the way the games were scheduled out, with the playing and the sitting and the reffing and the sitting and the playing again, and you were constantly in motion doing something.
There was no boredom. There was no sitting down,
No.
Not much.
timing out.
There was no waiting around.
didn't have
at all
time
this
for it.
year.
But the downside of that is that you don't. There wasn't a lot of time during the week at the center to socialize with people, and the reality is that we can all really fuck each other off on a whole host of levels, repeatedly and often. But as a general rule, we kind of all like each other at least a little bit, and it's kind of nice to be able to, socialize a little bit. And the look I'm getting from Tragedy right now is pretty fucking amusing. So,
I don't even like you a little bit.
That's fair.
I love you.
Yeah, baby.
He says that as he confirms Simon's friend request on Facebook.
So it was nice to get the time to be able to socialize properly with everyone outside of Lasers, for sure.
I mean, it's always a long time between drinks, like, and being back together with everyone is. There's so much happiness, so much joy, so much laughter,
So much shit
all
talk.
the way through the week.
So much chair throwing.
Why are you so mad, Brew?
Like I said, the floors had just been waxed. I was trying to push the chair, and it just got away from me. All right.
If I could go backwards a little bit and move away from the barbecue, what are your thoughts about the way that we did schedule this? This is the first year that we've done ref sit, play sit. Do you feel like this was a success? Do you feel like this is something that we should do going forward? Do you feel like this was an absolute waste of time and we should have done something different?
So I think definitely if we with the eight or nine teams, this is definitely the way to do the scheduling.
Yeah.
On day one, before everybody started getting tired, because that just happens, we were properly cycling people in. The next game was in and ready and kitted before the previous game was done. That game got out. The next game got in. That got logged. It got started. The refs, if they had to do their deliberations, weren't impacting a game start time. From that aspect, it was absolutely fantastic. I think, though, it does become a very specific use case, though, in that it needs to be really either 8 or 9, because when you've got that less than 8, you start running into, I can only do play. I can only do a 3 block, and if you get more than 9, then at that point you've really got to move it into flights, and then you start running into other scheduling.
It was also
challenges
made.
there.
It was also made easier by the fact that Brisbane just has so many suits, so it was possible for the other teams to get suited up while the game was still in progress, rather than waiting for players to come out. So in best case scenario, we actually got some games started in as little as 2 minutes after the previous one had ended.
So fast.
We should also take this opportunity to thank, which I didn't do at the awards barbecue. We didn't thank Andrew Cutts Glader for the work that he did in running the kit up area all week.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He spent four definite days, 4.5 days if you count today, just trying to get people to put their suit in the right place and go through the. He had signs, he had barriers so people didn't walk the wrong way. He was shooing people in and out.
And we still fucked it up.
And we still fucked it up, but he did a great job all week.
That is
and
true.
Really didn't get thanked properly, and so I want to take this opportunity from my team to say you did an amazing job this week, and it wouldn't have run as smoothly as it did without you.
Appreciate it.
Well done, Glader. Yeah.
Right. So, was there anything else that you guys would like to talk about? You could say Auckland 2020.
Auckland 2020, start the hype. Make it a
right.
thing.
Oh, okay. So, we'll get into that stuff.
Auckland 2020, start the hype. Detroit 2019, whatever.
That's already been decided. We need to build the interest so it becomes a thing, like an official
So
thing.
before we move on from this tournament, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Good, we covered most things, didn't we?
Yeah, the Gen 8 suits. Did anyone, I found as the tournament progressed that the IR seemed to be progressively harder to hit.
Yes. I don't know whether
Missiles were
Chris...
easier to dodge.
I don't know whether Chris went in. In a very real and important sense, the Nationals was a good test for Laserforce of what can be done with these suits when they are getting 100% use out of them, because we were using almost every suit all day long. They were unplugged. They only had one they needed to take out of the field, which was
Peacemaker. No, it wasn't taken out.
He turned it into a ref suit overnight.
No, Peacemaker was there.
Sat in the corner.
Beans took it off me. He said, "I'll take this out. Next game is back on the rack." It wasn't even looked at.
Wow.
I think you did it just to appease you for like 5 minutes.
Well,
I blame user error.
You did score 12
payback.
as a heavy.
Problem exists between
Keep it in case.
back plate and chest plate.
There were a couple times, like I went to go missile Rusty again, and he like on the last game that we played him, he was in the vortex and he was bent over, and all he did was shake his ass at me slightly, and like
You just got excited,
All
didn't
of a
you?
sudden, you shot too early, didn't you?
The phaser, which was kind of dipped towards a 4, was suddenly pointing at the ceiling. I don't know what happened.
I just trained you to check your missiles.
And then like pop the term hashtag keep your gun up. So, but yeah, like that was something that hadn't really happened to me in the tournament up until that point, where someone could easily break the missile.
Yeah. I actually particularly noticed it when Odin's Fist was murking for the D's, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did get a missile into me with a 6-meter chase, you fucker, but... yeah, fucking dickhead. But anyway...
Then didn't you get penalised for language?
Shut up. But he tried to missile me on 3 other occasions. And I got around walls and got away from 2 of them. And the third one was a shoulder dodge. I was side on and I just wiggled my body and bent over and he lost it. Something you could not do on day 1 or day 2.
It was so easy to missile at the start of the
Yep.
week. So it was crazy.
But then again, you could also missile, you'd get a hit tone for 2, you'd lose it, and then you'd re-find him, and the missile tone would suddenly be on the 3rd, and you'd just pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I popped down behind a wall and then popped up and went 3rd tone. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But
I had the same
a
thing
lot of the
happen.
guys who played 3-hit found this as a bit of an issue where the suit gives you a message whilst you've got a missile lock on. And it's like you get 2 tones, the message starts, the missile tone pauses, and you're timing it in your head. You know 3rd tone's there, so you pull the trigger, whoosh, gone.
A lot that happened.
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of
Oh,
salt.
hi, Hoodie. Oh, he was right in Chris's face when that happened. 3 times in one game, was it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was quite a bit of salt from one Mr. Wayne Hood.
Yeah, he can take them, but he can't give them out.
It's like, I missed 6 medic hits because of that.
But
Didn't need a mate, sorry.
But I mean, so yeah, okay, some interesting software bugs, let's say, but
Interesting software bugs.
interesting software bugs for sure. But I have to admit,
Not
was,
everything can be perfect.
I was a little skeptical coming in after seeing the initial the hype videos that they released. It's like, hey, Gen 8, here it comes, and when I first saw the videos, I was like, okay, these kind of look like cartoons. I'm not entirely convinced about this. But after a week of playing on them, the suits themselves feel really good. The guns themselves feel really good.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big step up, in my opinion, hardware wise, from the last 4 generations.
It feels so much more robust as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guns really feel very... You feel like, and nobody did that I'm aware of, you feel like you could strike against a wall with some force.
Yeah, or your medic.
Too soon?
Too soon. But you feel like you could...
Never too soon for the resupply.
You feel like you could be... You don't have to be as gentle with them as you did with the Gen 5 plastics when they first came out, and they were very, very fragile. They do seem so much more robust than definitely Gen 5, and that first change of phaser from the one-handed phaser.
Yeah.
So I guess that sort of brings to the conclusion of nationals for this year.
It does a bit.
And I've already had one cry this week about not being able to play anymore, so I'm not going to do another one here. But
Are you sure?
yeah.
Do you want to go to Bilge with Taipan?
I don't know. He's got so many walls that he puts up.
Wow.
That's too
Wow.
soon.
That's wow.
It's never too soon for the resupply.
But so going forward from here, next year we have the Nationals will be held in Detroit. I think that's all but confirmed. Is that right?
That's the current plan. Obviously, I think we still need to get the site's permission. I mean, that's
details.
That's probably something that somebody should look into.
Oh, hi, Mr. Owner. We would like to give you money to use your centre. What do you think?
$200 per person.
Oh,
Thank you.
God, no.
It's American dollars, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
So about $1,500 New Zealand.
It's a lot of dollary dues.
But I mean, that's where it's likely to be next year, and they, the owners are like, fuck all you off. Yeah, we don't want you here. But
Having said that, I have played a tournament there recently with the new ownership, and they do seem very, very, very supportive.
Baden's already spoken to me about the owner. He's very keen, actually, to have the Nats there.
so I mean, I think there's probably going to be another discussion at some point about it, but that's probably the likely place. So make sure you start saving kids so that you can attend next year's nationals. 2020, we are going to hopefully look to host that in Auckland, assuming that we can get something that's newer than Gen 6.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Because Gen sucks.
Gin sucks.
So yeah,
Certainly does.
if you live in North America, make sure you start saving for that trip because it would be awesome to have you guys in our home. Does
The
anyone?
exchange rate is amazing.
You can live like a king, brother.
The hype's already started. We've been even getting the American boys into it. They're keen, like from what they've been saying.
Good. But you know,
Everybody,
says,
everybody always starts keen, and then
and then they realize, oh shit, this ain't free. So we'll see what happens in the next 2 years. But next year, Detroit. Hopefully, we get a bunch of people that can actually attend that. I'm kind of hoping I can, but we'll see what happens. But does anyone want to add any final thoughts to this year's tournament?
No, I had a wonderful time. It's just awesome having everybody back, meeting the new ones, bringing them into the family for all the hugs and kisses and the dry roots and the bum grapes. It's just great.
Thanks replacement dad.
Come on, you hoodie as well.
I have definitely made some new friends this week. Not all of them involving Fireball. And I never thought I could be so happy in a tournament coming 7th, but it was such a great time playing with Night Owl, Shags, Hoodie, Duckman, Nimitz. Nimitz having his redemption tournament after having a bit of a rager last year in Sacramento.
A bit?
Yeah. handled himself fantastically this week. So proud of the kid. We'll see what happens the rest of tonight, but he's a good guy.
I've done everything.
Fireball Nimitz is now a thing. You've created that.
It's your fault.
We're getting some nods from the Peanut Gallery.
Why am I drunk, Brew?
Yeah, apparently Nevis is in some trouble outside.
Al?
My final thoughts. Look, this, I think, in all honesty, this will be the last tournament that I play.
Auckland 2020, get hyped.
Look, that's a lie.
I know I've said it before, but this time I think it might be actually time. I may attend a game.
All you have to do in
But-
Auckland is stand against the
I
wall.
know.
There's no resupplies, man.
No, I'm not
Well, we're all overweight.
You can get missiles from Fat Air in that place.
I know. Fat Air won't be going. We call him Landscape now. And he'd block that ramp all by himself. Shout out to Spoonie, good on you, mate. Look, there's been some talk about going and doing some stuff at the tournament rather than actually playing. I'd of course have to appease my wife to go, but it's been, my first tournament was in 1996, and I started 23 years ago. It's been a long time playing. I've gone to a lot of tournaments. I've played in multiple countries around the world. I think that it's time. My body does not recover anywhere near as well as it used to, and the guys that I travel with, Ducky and Woody and Shags, they're all, they are all broken individuals. And
physically.
in a lot of, they give everything, and every time I call them up and say, "Hey boys, we're doing this," they go, "You fucker." All right.
Get fit.
After I nag them a lot, and I've asked them probably 2 tournaments more than a friend should be able to ask their friends, and they've still said yes every time to me, and I think that it's probably time that we just bow into history, and
Go and talk to Mars.
Yeah.
Get the new crowd coming through.
she doesn't have a new crowd.
You need to bring it up.
This is why I was crying last night.
I don't have the time or the energy to deal with site owners who just don't really
Care.
It's not that they don't care. Mars, I've never spoken to Mars. I've never met the woman. I can't say bad things about her because I don't know her. But that's another conversation in terms of Sidetracked and what they do is another conversation, and it's not one that I need to be a part of. They need to find themselves players. they need to create members nights, because me going in there doesn't do anything. I'm not going to go every week. Family, they run members nights on Fridays and Saturdays. That's my family time. They need. I'm happy to come and support them, but they need to find members first, and that requires a business sense shift. And whether they do or they don't, members don't make the kind of money that parties do. Members don't make the kind of money that Bucks nights and Hens nights and school groups and scout groups make. Members nights are a drain on the business because we are a pain in the ass. We take things for granted. We also, a well curated and a well managed membership group can drop thousands and thousands of dollars across a year, but they're a pain in the ass. And these things, it's just one of those things. Mars has a job to do, and her job is not to create a members night. Her job is to make that business boom. Members are a secondary. The business is first. The business is most important, and her job, as far as I understand it, again, I've never met the woman, I've never spoken to her, but her job is to grow Laserforce in Australia. And from what I understand is she's doing a great job. They're switching over the M9s. They're taking zone sites. That's awesome.
And ultimately, our goals can be aligned in that regard, because we also want to see this sport, and yes, it's a sport, Al, grow over time, and that's absolutely essential, is getting more people on board with it.
Absolutely. But it's not going to be me doing it. It's going to be somebody younger. It's going to be somebody from the business side doing it. But there's been talk of me and Traj going to one of the tournaments coming up, perhaps, and commentating like they do with old, broken down sports people, and commentating on the live stream where we can drink booze and talk shit,
and that'll be amazing,
and have a great time.
Yes. And unlike the people talking shit on the stream, they'll actually be at the tournament, because they could be fucked to actually get themselves someplace.
Talking to you, Venom.
Can I say something on the back of that? I'm technically a part of the peanut gallery enough, but close enough to the mic. On behalf of myself and all of the rookies of this tournament, I just want to say thank you for the whole community. You guys made us feel really welcome, and he's talking about people retiring, and we need to find the new generation of players, and I think you guys have all done a good job of trying to keep everyone. Like, we've all come here, and you've all shown us a good time. You've all backed us. No one's been basically trying to trash us because we're not as good as you at this.
Well,
not to our faces, at least. Well, no, fans sometimes to my face.
In the field.
But in the field, it's okay. But no, I think, and that's the important part, this community stays strong because of the people. And I say that on behalf of myself as a rookie, and I think almost probably every rookie in this room and every rookie at this tournament. You guys are the reason that we want to come back. So I just want to thank you all on behalf of that.
Cool.
Say my piece, and then I'm out.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean,
I said something intelligent. It's more that.
This is the part where like everyone's fucking depressed and whatnot. We all go home and
Back to work.
Oh,
cuddle with our trophies and
like it's the sun.
This is the part where the Nats hangover starts. When you go back to the real world and life, and you go, oh fuck, I kind of miss all those assholes. Those dumb motherfuckers. I actually miss those guys. Fuck. And then, that slowly fades over a month or two or three. And then the hype starts for the next year as everything starts going back into the Facebook group for, okay, here's the dates for next year. Here's some information. Here's some this. Here's some that. Here's a committee chat on Facebook that won't get read by the person that needs to read it and take the information in.
Oh,
so that was a cry pan.
Yeah.
But on that note, maybe one great thing for drumming up some interest over the course of the next 11 to 12 months, would be maybe some kind of semi-regular media presentation where the community can get together and maybe invite on a guest from time to time.
You mean like a podcast?
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. That's even better than what I was thinking.
You know what? I have a great idea for the name of this.
And what would that be?
We can call it the resupply.
It's genius.
That's fucking amazing.
That's-
And we can have like cool taglines and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
And loud musical introductions.
it's a shame the production quality of that sounds way out of my league. I don't know if I can pull that off.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's a mission, but nah, man. And you know what? It sounds like too much work. We're not.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Let's see how that pays off for us.
All right, well, that'll probably do us for nationals this year.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone who took the time to listen to the podcast and scoff when we say dumb shit and when I don't edit things properly and leave in like unbalanced audio and
Again, sorry, Amy.
but,
Not sorry.
I hope everyone kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of making it, and it's been such a really fun experience for us to be able to kind of throw this all together. We're sort of in talks about whether or not we're going to keep going as regularly as we were, but we'll figure that out before.
Yeah, that's going to be something that Steve and I will have to discuss as far as like where the real life schedules take both of us. Whether or not it's still going to be a weekly thing.
Maybe it might be a monthly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce.
Maybe a bi-weekly double tap.
We'll see how we get on.
Yeah.
But for the final day at Laserforce Internationals 2018 in Brisbane, I've been Guy Next Door.
And I've been Than.
This has been the Peanut Gallery.
Yay!
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next time.
And buy travel insurance.
Yes, buy travel insurance.